It's time for the Detroit Lions Podcast Quick Takes Show. It's a quick look at this week's Detroit Lions news. And now your hosts, Chris and Jeff the Riz Risden. God, that's such a great open. Hey, howdy-ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions Podcast, episode 191. This is Quick Takes. It's me, Chris, your dashing host, and with me is my good friend and co-host, Jeff the Riz Risden. How are you doing, my man?
Great to be with you for another Friday of Quick Takes. We're going to have some fun today, aren't we?
Yeah, this is a good one. We got a lot of good stuff planned. Some important stuff, too. Pressing stuff from just last night that people have been talking about, and I think we can help set straight a little bit. And we're going to talk about the game against Arizona, a little bit of the Cooter running scheme, and a little bit about the Bills' look ahead. So, got a lot coming up. It's a great show. Riz, you ready to go, man?
Let's do it!
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right, let's hit these quick takes. First off, got to tell you, this show is brought to you by our friends at Fanatics. Don't go to Fanatics. Don't go. They like you and all that, and they're a great place, and they have all kinds of great stuff. But you have to go there via DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Get your jerseys, all your great stuff, gifts. You still have time. They have a great sale going on right now. Get your gifts for everyone, including me, including Riz, from DetroitLionsPodcast.com by clicking on the Fanatics link. All kinds of sports gear. Great place to go. Riz, did you buy all your sporting gear for all your gifts there this year?
I can say that I did, but I can't say it very loud because my son will hear what I got him for Christmas, and I don't want him to know that.
Oh gosh, yep. You can't ruin the illusion.
Nope.
All right, good stuff. So thank you, Fanatics. Remember, DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Click on the link there and hit the Fanatics link and get your stuff. So let's move forward. We're going to talk a little bit about this game last night. It was crazy.
Oh man, it was fun to watch. It was a very entertaining game. Mm-hmm. We saw a last second comeback, and we saw a team go for the win, which I liked. Yeah, I admired that. I was happy.
The first one, like we saw, who tried? Ohio State tried it, right? Was it Ohio? No. Who played them? Maryland. Maryland tried it against Ohio State.
Maryland tried it. Didn't work so well. The Titans tried it earlier this year as well. Didn't go so well. Actually, they did that against the Chargers. I remember that now. That was in London.
Yeah.
And they ran almost the same play too, and it found up incomplete on the other side of the field. But this one worked.
Yeah, it did.
And the Chargers are tied for first place. I guess Kansas City still has the tiebreaker, but you can't go wrong if you think that the Chargers are the best team in the AFC either. And they proved it last night. It was a great game.
How can they have the tiebreaker when they played each other?
Well, they've split. But Kansas City has not lost to any other AFC West teams, and the Chargers did lose to Denver.
Yeah, so. The Chargers Twitter was crazy with it. Even, I mean, they were like, "We beat the Chiefs!" Like they were as surprised as everybody else, right?
Their Twitter is top notch.
Yeah, very.
If you're going to follow a team, theirs is a good one. They are not afraid to poke fun at their enemy.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. So one of the things that kind of marred the game though was the officiating. It was kind of messy, man. It was very much. The flow of the game seemed to be kind of wrecked.
That one drive had like 4 penalties in a row. It's frustrating to watch all that. And I know some people have commented about it too, about how it just disrupts from the flow of the game. And you don't get as much pleasure watching it.
Yeah.
You want to see uninterrupted action when you're watching something for pleasure. It doesn't matter what you're watching for pleasure. You want it uninterrupted. You want it, continuous. And,
quite as interrupted.
And you're not getting that when there's a yellow flag thrown all the time.
Right.
It was that one drive where they called the defensive holding, and there was an offsides. There was somebody who lined up in the neutral zone. I think it was. I couldn't even keep track. It was.
We got a tweet today with it's a really, really good question about that, and it's well worded. It's well thought out. And I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Why don't we just see if we can put Dean on the spot? You want to call playing Dino?
We might as well. He would know. He would be able to answer these things better than we can. Why are they so insistent on making themselves seeming like they're in the spotlight? The guys, the officiating crew.
Yep. Well, okay. I found it.
Are you getting Dean?
Yeah,
are you really?
Yeah.
No way.
What the hell? Let's give it a shot. See if he wants to talk to us.
All right. I hope he picks up.
Yeah, let's see. Dean? Hey, how you doing, man? It's Chris. Is your phone okay, Dean?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just trying to get my earbud.
See what happens? We just call him out of the blue.
That is Dean.
It's Chris and Jefferson. We're calling you on the Detroit Lions podcast. I want to talk to you a little bit if you had a second. Didn't want to interrupt you in the middle of something important. You weren't.
No, I got to go get my Lions gear on though. Hold on.
Okay, that's cool.
Grab a Verner's, brother.
Normally you guys give me a heads up and I'm ready. I'm scrambling.
At least you didn't pick up. We didn't hear it's those idiots from the Lions again, right? So, hey, man, we want to talk about, I mean, we're interrupting you, but it felt a little bit like our officials yesterday. We were interrupting the game a lot on the Thursday night game. Wanted to get some of your thoughts on that, if you don't mind sharing with us here.
Yeah.
We have a specific question, actually, and I don't normally read something this long, but it's well worded, well thought out, and I thought I'd share it with you and let you just kind of go at it. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Hi, guys. Proud Lions fan, if there's any other kind, right? Hoping you could talk me out of my NFL slump. It was a great game last night. Tremendous play by all players, but I'm concerned. The game ended featuring not the talents of the players, but the inconsistency and shoddy performance of the officiating crew. The NFL has created an environment where too much of the game's fate's left in the hands of the refs, and the conversation is shifting away from great gameplay to the people who are administering play. I'm beginning to grow tired of this, and last night after seeing all the weak flags, I actually found myself thinking that I might be done watching football. His question is, from after all that, how can the NFL right the ship? Pretty good question. You got anything for us on this, man? I hate to put you on the spot.
So, officiating has never been, it's not like people watch a game and go, oh man, the officials were amazing in that game.
I do it all the time, Dean.
You do it all the time. I know you do, but you're more of a sophisticated football fan.
It's never been said about me, but
most,
thank you.
when it comes to officiating.
Me and sophisticated have never been used in the same sentence, so I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, it was a stretch for me to even say it, but it's fine. So I think the what people think are the best officiated games are the games where you don't even know the officials are there, right? So
exactly.
If the officials, in theory, right, if they just let them play, and the players could police themselves and not foul, then yeah, everybody would be happy, and there'd be 2 flags a game. And but look, really, who decides how many fouls there are in a game? In officiating, we like to think that the 2 teams do, but sometimes there are games where a crew may be calling it more tight, or they might be letting things go. And I think where people struggle, and I struggle with this. I struggled with this when I was in the officiating department, and now when you watch a game, and it seems like from one drive to the next, their philosophy changes. Where they're calling, the game last night, it looked like during the one drive, the one Chargers drive, there were several defensive holdings called, and it looked like they were calling that very tight, and then letting it go on the other end, coming back the other way. So that's, I think, where you get into the consistency question. I think that's what everyone wants, just more consistency.
Sure. Now, let me ask you really quick about the helmet to helmet on Phil Rivers. There's no question that should have been.
Yeah. How is that continually getting missed? We see, it's such an emphasis, and then they will throw it when it doesn't seem to apply, and they won't throw it when it's obvious right in front of them. That's very frustrating for all of us watching. I'm sure it's frustrating for you watching it too.
No question. I think that the helmet rule, look, and I've been on record saying, look, it's when it comes to player safety and we're trying to get the head out of the game when it comes to initiating contact, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think that the way it was implemented, it seemed like a last minute change. Usually there's an off season where you're looking at video, your competition committee has a chance to go through it, think through unintended consequences. And this happened at the league meeting. It felt like it was more pushed through and everybody was playing catch up. The preseason, we saw a ton of flags, and then everyone was up in arms. Well, we can't have this many flags. And then they pulled back on it. And it just seems like they can't find the right balance. And I agree. There were, you go back to the hit on Kamara a couple of weeks ago, that was a clear-cut foul, no flag. The one last night, and then maybe some of these others where you say, well, that's not quite what I think we're looking for. And again, it just comes to education for the officials, the players, the coaches, and everyone else to know, hey, this is a foul, this is what's going to get called. But again, when you have 17 different crews and different officials on every crew, that subjectivity is going to always be an issue.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything, and I don't know that the answer is in any way yes here, but is there anything that fans of football can do? Is it something we just have to accept and hope that the officiating kind of the rule book and the officials and the leadership kind of evolve into something that works here? Because as great as that game was, I think he nailed it when he said it was just really hard to watch. The product, it lacked the excitement that you really want out of a game and what the game could have had.
Yeah, and I think there are going to be games like that. I always like to take a big picture approach, and I will say this. I say, look, for 40 years, the number of fouls called during a game has not changed drastically. It's been around 16 fouls a game. And if you think about 40 years ago, how many less fouls there were to call. You know, we didn't have defenseless player rules. You didn't have illegal contact. You didn't have helmet rules. And the officials are still in that 16 foul a game kind of spot. So I don't think it's an epidemic. I do think that there are going to be games like that where you want, the play on the field to be the story and not the officials. And hopefully that, with better communication and just things going forward and just clearer messaging to the officials, you have less games like that.
I was thinking maybe just get a party bus or something together, but that's probably a better
I'm always,
answer.
You know me, I'm always for the party.
Hey, those are fun, man. We gotta get you on another one of those, Dean.
I mean, if every team had a party bus, I could make the rounds.
Hey, I had one question for you. This came up. A bunch of people were actually suggesting it last night online, and I know it's not anything out of your hands, but I wonder what your thoughts would be on making defensive holding not an automatic first down.
Yeah, it's a good question because nothing is worse than 3rd and 18 and you see something that's ticky-tack and a slight little grab and the quarterback gets sacked and now you got a first down. And so the competition committee has always looked at that. But you do worry about if it's not an automatic, then on 3rd and long, we're going to replay the down if there's a foul, but are you going to encourage defensive players to play more aggressively and potentially try to get away with a hold? And I think that's the debate. It is a big penalty, but always, those rules are always going to lean toward the offense, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I get the deterrent factor on that. It's sort of like the Clay Matthews calls from earlier this year where, landing with your body weight on it. We saw a ton of those early. And it seems like the defenders adjusted pretty well because I haven't seen that called in a while, not frequently anyways. It's like the defense figured out what they were doing with it, and I wonder if that's something that they could do with defensive holding too.
It feels like they met in the middle a little on that because I've seen some that I was like,
they did.
Ooh, early that would have been called. and I think you're right, Riz, they're better, but
players do adjust. I think players do adjust when it comes to the safety stuff. That has always been my experience. Defensive holding it's definitely an interesting issue because there are some teams that have been very successful that will say we're going to push the envelope, and because the officials they may call it once,
Seattle,
they call it twice, but they're not going to call it 5 times in a row. So we're going to get away with something, and I think it's that automatic first down is a pretty big deal in that penalty that deters teams from just saying we're going to keep doing it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll buy that. That's a good answer.
All right. I know, Dean, look, we ambushed you, and I appreciate you.
Thanks for amusing us.
I just got to check really quick. We talk to people all the time about, when they do their holiday shopping and just their general shopping. And we always tell them that they should go to Detroit Lions Podcast first before they go to Amazon and use the link there. That's what you do, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Detroit Lions Podcast link for presents. Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, just making sure. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'm going to go check it out now, right after we're done.
You're the best, buddy. All right, man. Hey, I'll talk to you in a couple hours, okay?
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you, bud. Cheers. All right. Dean Blandino, man. What a good sport,
Dean.
Right?
I love that you can just dial up Dean and he answers.
Oh, he's so cool. I look, we go back to this and we talk about it every time we talk to him, but I started the Fire Blandino hashtag,
yes,
right?
You did.
And
that's actually how you and I hooked up the first time. Well, not in that way, but yeah.
You want to rephrase. Phrasing. And you just offered me a hotel room for the Senior Bowl. Okay. Why did things get out of hand? No. If we went from there to talking to him, been to LA a couple times. He's He's just such a great guy.
He's been on with us a couple times. He talked to us this summer. He's been always willing to honestly answer things. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah,
that's great.
Absolutely. And he's accountable for everything he said and done. And like, even like I give him shit about the party bus, right? And he's like, you can laugh about it, whatever. It was a bad moment. But so yeah, Dean's and when we did our first interview with him, right, he went into depth on the whole thing. So
he did.
Speaking of Lions fans, friends of Lions fans, we're looking for somebody who has a party bus. Dean and I, we're doing something in Detroit. We need that Lions bus. Please help us out, and we'll get started. So anyway, really quick, got to go back to Amazon, right? Because everyone's getting their gifts. It's time. It's time.
It is time.
2-day shipping.
Today's the 14th. You got 11 days left. If you want to avoid all the crap, make sure that they get it.
Yeah.
That it's not sitting on their porch with like 5 other things that people are going to try to steal. Get it in. Get it done now.
Dang straight, my friend. So head on over to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Click on the Amazon link. You can use the shop link as well, and that'll take you to any one of the places there that you can click right out of there and go. No pop-ups, no funny stuff. They give us a kickback based on what you buy, and we appreciate every single one of you who use that link. It's a great way to help the show. Maybe drop a little gift our way during your gift-giving season. So thank you, everybody, and thanks for listening to us read this shit all the time. It's not like I enjoy doing that part of the show, but it is a necessity. You got to pay for all this crap. All right, so speaking of pay for it, can I just rub something in, Riz?
Probably.
My real job. Today's a very special day. This was the last day of work for me for 2018. And I was supposed to not go back till the 13th, but I had a run-in with my supervisor who's a little panicky and shouldn't be, but whatever. So I have to go back on the 7th. But
now wait a minute. So today's the 14th. You were going to go back till the 13th?
Yeah.
Good grief.
They give us so much vacation. We have 2 shutdowns. I've been there a long time. I've got a little over 5 weeks of vacation, plus the normal holidays, the whole thing. It's a charmed life, right? But anyway, this is the time.
My God, I'm lucky if I get 10 hours off in a row at any point.
I know. It's only because I'm calling you all the time. But with all that being said, being a special day and all that, we kind of want to look at, I forgot what my segue was. So I was just bragging. Never mind. Just take it as a brag, folks. I'm off and you're not. Sorry. No. Oh, this is the time I get to really concentrate on the show and doing a lot of stuff in the background and some of the other stuff. So anyway, let's talk about the game against Arizona really quick. This is, thank you.
We won.
That was a video moment.
Thank God we won. Could you imagine losing to that team? Oh my God, they're terrible. They are terrible.
Yeah. They're not good at all. I want to give you a quick thing. This is from Javid Sanders, 44, in the subreddit. Of the 61 total plays run by the Lions offense in that game, 24 of them were runs up the middle. And I know we complain about it, but it's 40% of our offensive plays in that game were runs up the middle. And I do have to, just because this is what I do, I have to give credit to RB number 20. He says, I want to be mad at him, but I can't blame a guy named Cooter to always want to go up the middle. So that being said, we've talked about this in the last 2 Quick Takes episodes. It's about replacing JBC. It's talking about the offensive coordinator. This 40% of your calls are the exact same play, Riz. This is unacceptable, right? Or is it
absolutely it is. Some of it is that LeGarrette Blount comes into the game. He's your lead running back right now. What does he do? He runs up the middle. He's not a threat to go off tackle. He's not going to bounce a run outside. He's between the tackles. That's what he does. One of the problems that does that, and I actually did a piece on this for Lions Wire this morning, shameless plug. He runs against an 8-man box 41% of the time when he gets the ball. The only person that's higher than that is Royce Freeman, another overweight running back from Oregon, ironically enough.
But does he have a side grow that says his dick's just average? Oh, do we want to not talk about that?
I'm trying to avoid that all day.
You've already had a Twitter run-in with
yeah. I published a mock draft today, so there's enough people that are wishing bad things to my genitalia. I don't need to talk about other people's genitalia too.
Okay, we can move.
Yeah, but so when LeGarrette Blount is your running back, what are you going to do? I mean, he's going to run up the middle. That's what you do.
Throw the ball.
Now, obviously, when you get to an 8-man box, there should be an availability for some play action, for some misdirection, for some scheming deviousness that seems to be beyond Cooter. I'll give him a little bit of credit here in that they don't have the wide receivers that can pull those things off right now.
Great point.
When Bruce Ellington is the guy who gets open better than anybody else on your team, and that's true, by the way.
And that's while he's injured for the next game. He's still going to be your best guy to get open.
He's going to be out for the Buffalo game and still probably more open than Kenny Galladay or Andy Jones or whoever else they figure out can try to run a route.
And that's not a knock on Galladay, but Galladay works best with a cast of NFL caliber players, right?
One of the things that you've seen is that Kenny Galladay is not a legit number one wide receiver yet.
Perfect.
He could be in time.
Perfect.
He's not there yet. That's one of the things that I've learned in the last few weeks. So there's opportunities there to take shots, but they don't necessarily have the personnel to take shots with. So I will defend Cooter a little bit on that, but at the same time, hey, how about a screen? How about a bubble screen? How about a tunnel screen? How about a draw play that goes outside? How about a jet sweep? How about not
running it up the middle?
How about a full house fullback situation where you got three guys in the backfield and you run an option?
How about throwing it to Stafford? Anything. How about anything? Anything.
And you got to throw it to Taylor Decker again. He looked pretty good doing that.
He seemed to be. And this time, I bet he doesn't throw the ball in the stands afterward.
You might get that one back easier.
Yeah.
There are things that can be done. You can play Zach Zenner more. You can play Zenner and Blunt together. Mm-hmm. And, hey, we're going to run it down your throat. Defend this, bitch. And they don't do that.
I love Zach Zenner.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely the guy. He
had a great run, in part because he has the ability to sell a head and shoulders fake that LeGarrette Blunt, he just doesn't do. He's like, I'm running at you. Tackle me.
Yeah.
And they do.
I'm going to give you a mediocre.
At 2.9 yards per carry, he has the lowest yards per carry of any back with at least 80 carries in the league.
I'm going to give you 300 pounds, the most mediocre dick you ever had, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, no, that's just the way it goes.
Oh my god,
I can't believe that shit's in the headlines. I just kills me. It kills me.
I got a note from my boss at USA Today. Do not write about that. I'm like,
Yeah. No,
Thanks,
that gave you the out for sure. Hey, speaking about the guys at Lions Wire, you shameless plug. I got to tell you, they write good stuff over there. Lions Wire.
We try, man.
Yeah. I mean, that Schlitt guy is really good. I mean, the rest of the staff, I don't know, but
Eric Schlitt is a godsend for me. He and I do very good work, and it's interesting because
I used to see everyone see how Riz just took the credit.
But see, we are coming up on draft season, and Eric and I have a lot of disagreements on both where the Lions should look and at what prospects they should be looking at.
Sure.
So we're gonna have some interesting online fights, and we'll fight.
Just don't plan them. Make them honest fights, okay?
Oh, heck yeah!
We see too much of that where these guys are like, and then we disagree. Check it out. It's like,
we are not Stephen A. or we are not Skip and Shannon.
Okay, thank you. It's all. It's my advice to you, my friend. It's because it comes from a loving place.
Yeah, the worst part of that would be I would be Skip, and I really don't want to be Skip.
I see you more as a Shannon, but whatever. Okay, so let's. Got
to get my jaw out.
Talking about the Lions and the Bills.
I have an overbite. I don't have an underbite like he does.
Yeah, you can work on it. Maybe I can pop you in the back. Never mind. Okay, Lions at the Bills. Matthew Stafford missed a press outing to this week because he was being worked on. What do we have? Is he going to make it this week? Is he going to play?
He is questionable. I think the injury designations came out like right before we got on, and I have not looked at it yet. I know that some people are out. He is not one of the listed out. He has a back problem.
He doesn't have a Carson Wentz style back problem.
No, Carson Wentz has Carson Wentz and the Eagles are sort of at war right now, if you believe certain sources, about his back injury. Interesting that he's been hurt 3 times since Matthew Stafford's been hurt once. Just
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. This is okay.
Yeah, so Stafford, it's his clear when he did his little scramble out to the right this week on the 3rd and 4 play where Kenny Galladay was blanketed and Andy Jones and Bruce Ellington both fell down
right
routes on the shitty turf out in Arizona. God, that was awful. That was terrible field conditions.
That was horrible. And we haven't talked about it enough this week. I don't think anybody really has. It was like on that day, everyone's like, wow, this is garbage. We should have played in Mexico City. And then that was it. And it was just the news cycle ran on. But that was
it was unacceptable. Yeah, that's absolutely. Unacceptable.
100%.
Hopefully we don't get that in Buffalo. If Buffalo gets the weather that they're supposed to get, it's only going to be it'll be like 35 degrees and rainy. So it won't be, there's a potential for it to be torn up, but it's not going to be like super slick and snowy.
That was worse than mediocre.
Oh, it was atrocious. It was awful. Egregious.
Mediocre has a whole new meaning.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so I can't get off it.
His D.
I can't get off it, right?
She can.
No, yeah, she did. Anyway, I can't. It's like a laser.
Stop!
I'm like
you're
a cat with a laser,
paths.
right? I'm like a cat with a laser.
Yes. So back to the Bills.
Okay, I've heard of them before.
Matthew Stafford will play. I have very little doubt about that. But should he get injured, then we're dealing with the Matt Ketzel situation. That's not going to.
That's a straight win, right? Let's face it. The Bills are. I mean, would you say the Bills are as bad as Arizona, or just in the same ballpark? Or
offensively, they are. Well, it's weird because Josh Allen is the worst quarterback in the league. And that aside from that being my opinion, it's also statistically true. He's last in quarterback rating. He's last in yards per attempt. He's last in completion percentage. He's last in touchdown to interception ratio.
But look at the surrounding cast.
Right. I mean, Isaiah McKenzie and Zay Jones are his receivers. So that's not very good. That's not any better than what Detroit has. Let's put it that way. And he is their running back. He has broken Michael Vick's record for runs over 3 games for a quarterback. He has the new NFL record. He beat Michael Vick's record.
I hadn't heard that. I think it feels like that happened pretty quietly, or without much fanfare, I guess.
Well, it's in part because they keep losing. They've lost all those games.
Yeah, Michael Vick was a winner there for a while, except in the dogfighting arena, but it didn't work out for him.
Well, some of those dogs were probably good. I don't know. So Allen, he presents the threat of the run. He's really good at running around.
This has got to get changed to hot takes. I'm sorry. We just got to change this. Put flames under it, dude.
You're killing me, Chris.
So bad. Okay, go ahead.
So Allen is a threat because he is going to sit back there for 3.5 seconds, not look at any receivers. He's just going to stand there because that's what he does. And then he will run. And he will run a lot. And he will be a problem if Jared Davis can't corral him. But that is their entire offense, is him either running or throwing the ball way the heck downfield and getting either a defensive holding or a pass interference call. And they might hit one 45-yard pass in the game. That's their offense. That's what they do. They have no running backs. So Sean McCoy's gone. He's out.
Right.
I don't even know who their backup is, to be honest with you. I just watched one of their games too, because it's all Josh Allen. He is as he
it's like
runs,
a wildcat offense, right? I mean, that's flatly what it is.
Yeah, it kind of is. It really is. So that's different than what the Lions have experienced. Last week, Josh Rosen wasn't very good. They didn't know how to use David Johnson. They have offensive coordinator problems in Arizona, obviously. There's no David Johnson. There's no Larry Fitzgerald in this game. There's not even a J.J. Nelson in this game for Buffalo.
Watching that game, I was worried Larry wasn't going to get that record this year.
I was too.
It was so bad.
You know what? I was happy that happened and Lions fans got to see it. That's a class individual. That's a guy who has nothing but respect. If you heard after the game, Tracy Walker gave a little quip where Larry Fitzgerald came up to him and was like, "You covered me really nicely on that play, but next time, use your left foot forward instead of your right foot because I was going to cut off of you." And it's like, he's giving advice to guys. That's unbelievable to me.
You can tell it's his last year, right?
Yeah. He's all about the goodness of the game.
Yeah.
You have to appreciate that. Buffalo
awesome.
didn't have that.
No.
The problem for the Lions against Buffalo is their defense is really good. They give up fewer yards than any team in the league. That's a problem for Detroit's offense. Bruce Ellington out. Kerryon Johnson out.
But we got LeGarrette Blount.
Rick Wagner out.
Mediocre meat.
He might get that 2.9 something today. Sunday.
Some girls like them that wide. There we go. I'm just going to take care of that. Okay, go on. Who else is out?
Charles Washington's out. That's actually big for our special teams. He's been very good. Backup safety who does that. And I think that's all that's out. I hope that's all that out. Oh my God. We're dragging people now that we don't even know who the hell's on the roster.
Yeah.
When Andy, I liked Andy Jones. I saw him in Texans camp. He's a great athlete. From what I've seen of him on the game tapes, he's probably not going to be in Detroit next year. It's probably the nice way to say it. Well, but he's trying.
You're suffering injuries. I mean, I would say middle of October, we all knew who the 53rd man on the roster was. And even last year, throughout the year, with Quinn tinkering with the bottom of the roster all the time, you just knew who those people were, Right now, there's been so many injuries. You have no idea.
I can't keep up with all the transactions. It's nuts, man. I can't. They're signing people to the practice squad, and I can't tell if they're like actually going to the regular roster or what.
They're high school prospects.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'm
Sorry,
happy
Harbaugh. You're not getting that one. Sorry.
I'm happy that Leo Kolomatangi is up, and I think he deserves a shot. But he's your backup center, by the way, for those who don't know, and he might play because you never know what's going to happen in these games. And Buffalo, with the field the way it might be wet, might be cold, might be cramping. We could see some of these guys play. That this is not going to be a pretty game. I expect 20 punts in this game, to be honest with you. I don't think either offense is going to have much success because keep in mind, the Lions, as much as we like to bag on them, their defense has been pretty darn good lately. Deshaun Hand will be out. That's a problem.
That's a big one, yeah.
That means more Ricky Jean-Francois. Ricky Jean-Francois is best used in small doses.
Yeah.
Very, very effective when he's the fourth guy. When he's a third guy, that's yeah.
Now, what's the over-under in this game? Do you know off the top of your head?
I believe it was 45.5.
Oh, God, take the under, right?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I would take the under at 41. I don't think more than two offensive touchdowns will be scored in this game.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. You're probably right. Okay.
So if you're one of those people that you need to get Christmas shopping done and you're worried you're going to miss a Lions game,
do it at DetroitLionsPodcast.com.
Well, yeah. Obviously, you need to go to the podcast and click on the Amazon link. Hey, if you're looking for SeatGeek, that's the place to go too. I used that to get some nice tickets.
Thank you, dude. I forgot to mention that. You took the torch. This is, you guys. This is why Riz is a real friend. He looks out for us. He's more than a friend. He's a lover. I can't wait to share a room with you at the Senior Bowl, buddy. We are gonna be escorted into and possibly out of that room.
You have not been to the Senior Bowl, have you?
Not the Senior Bowl, no.
Oh, you'll have a lot of fun at the weigh-in when it's dudes in underwear and 1,000 people in the stands watching dudes in underwear walk across the stage.
Do I get to do that? Do I get to walk across the stage?
No.
Damn it. Okay. Well.
No, that's the highlight of my week though, is watching the reaction to the people. Oh my God, Mr. Bad Tattoo. Hey, why does he have a hairy back? Hey, he didn't just get out of the pool. Those so much fun.
Over here on aisle 4.
Yeah. Seeing the guys. I'm looking forward to that. Shrine Game and Senior Bowl. I'm back this year, baby.
Yeah, Shrine Game, dude. That you're just not by the crib, right?
I will be. I'm spending a full. I fly in on Saturday and I fly out on Monday, so I will the following Monday. So I will be there for a very long time. I have a lot of family in the Florida area, so I will be hanging with them as well, getting my gator on and stuff like that.
I got a whole day planned if you got one to spare, my friend. We've got some good stuff. Last year was nothing. We're gonna have a good time this year.
Excellent.
We may have to put you on some couch space or something to. Good times, my friend. Good times. All right. With that, let's talk about Patreon really quick. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Head on over, join the crew. You get yourself as little as $1 a month donation. You get access to the Slack chat, which is, Grizz, tell me I'm wrong. And no bullshit, right? I'm not asking you to lie for me. I mean, you didn't lie in the other ads, right? But the Slack chat is probably the most intelligent Lions conversation online, wouldn't you say?
What I like is the fact that when people are negative in it, they're not like everybody in Allen Park needs to die and they need to burn it down and start over again. And we need to go smother Martha and start over and get fresh ownership. It's not that's Twitter. That's really Facebook.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
The Slack chat is nothing like that. Like I will argue with people, and I don't argue too much in that, but there will be arguments that go on, and it's done from a point of we're talking respectfully. We disagree on things, but we see one another's points, and we're not going to make it personal. And I like that. I like that, and I appreciate that very much because that is not the way a lot of social media is these days.
Yeah. So, you can still be a Patreon, but don't come in and wreck it, right? But join us, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. You get the Slack chat. We do a pre-show show for the show during the middle of the week that Case and I do. And that's a lot of fun. You get to see some of the behind-the-scenes stuff and the setup, and we have some kind of off-the-cuff remarks that we do as well. So patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast.com. Get in, join up, and be a fan. Support the show. Help us do this thing. And on that, Riz, again, I thank you for your time, man. We're going to close this show out. And remember, use the comments in the sub to give us your feedback. We love your feedback. Yeah, it's a great place to do it. And then use the iTunes and Google Play and Spotify to give us your 5-star reviews. We love those. Those help us out. Help us move up those charts. Also, we're doing a post-game show this week. We don't miss that. That's a good one. It's a live show. You can call in. We can talk Lions. And check us out on Facebook, where the chat is only the best. Facebook.com/The Detroit Lions Podcast. Facebook.com/The Detroit Lions Podcast. And where all the action is. I mean, we're talking everything from head to toe, inside out, manscaping, at DET Lions Podcast on Twitter. DET Lions Podcast. It's the best place to see the Riz, Case, all of us.
With no pants!
Yeah, that's right, baby. All right, give us a call on Skype at Detroit Lions Podcast. All one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or on the Lions line, 929-33-LIONS. 929-335-4667. Leave a message, get you a chance to hear yourself on the show. And be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast so we can come in your little box automatically. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast, your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Wow, man.
Cool.
YouTubers, thank you so much for joining us. We love you.
We do.
You want to give them a
really
little love there, Rizzy?
I love the YouTubers. I have just discovered through my kids, actually, the wonders of watching YouTube things instead of watching TV. Because I'm one of those people, TV's on, but it's like background. You know, I'm watching nature shows. I'm watching Dr. Paul, the vet. I love the vet shows. Yeah. But they're not literally hold my attention. So I've been watching like YouTube stuff, like not just music videos, but other programming. And it's cool. I enjoy it. So I like the YouTubers. I'm rapidly becoming one of you.
It's nuts. My son, there was a shift where I'm like, he does not know anything on TV. Like, we'll watch a movie or whatever, but otherwise he's just on the phone or he's watching YouTube on the Xbox and his big TV or whatever. But I'm like, wow, man, there's no TV for these kids. And I recognize now, just like you said, I leave it like a news scroll going on the TV, but it's like just a background thing. I don't watch any shows or whatever. It's Netflix and chill. Yeah. It's YouTube. It's nothing. I mean, interesting world, man.
I'm ready to commit to that full time. I gotta pull the plug, man.
Yeah. Oh, if it wasn't for Sunday Ticket, my plug would already be out.
That's exactly it. And I'm fortunate enough I get to write that off, which is great.
Same. It's because of my friends here on Patreon and everywhere else. All right, folks, YouTubers, thank you so much. We love you, and
thanks, guys.
Thanks for
Have
watching.
A good weekend.
We'll check you out soon.